Good afternoon. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Business, Housing, Zoning Committee for February 27, 2024. I'm Jamal Osman, and I'm the chair of this committee. At this time, I'll ask City Clerk to call the roll so we can verify a quorum for this meeting.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Cashman.
Present.
Jenkins.
Present.
Chowdhury.
Present.
Vice Chair Ellison.
Here.
Chair Osman.
Here.
There are 6 members present.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. On the agenda for today's meeting is before us. We have 9 items on the consent agenda. The first 2 items is liquor license approval. The second item is 14 liquor license renewal. The third item is 3 gambling license approvals. The fourth item is amending the 2024 license fee schedule. Yes, thank you. The fourth item is amending the 2024 license fee schedule related to the maximum fees for Class A motor vehicle services. The fifth item is environmental covenant for 2704 29th Avenue South. The sixth item is approving HCHRA assistance for 3 affordable housing projects. The seventh item is comprehensive plan amendment for 1315 and a half University Avenue Southeast. Item 8 is scheduling for a public hearing for housing revenue bond for 550 West Lake Street. The last item is referring to a staff amended introduction for ordinance related to the liquor and beer. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda, or are there any items that anyone would like to pull for further discussion? Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a question on item 6 on the consent. So the tow truck service fees, is this a reduction in the fees, or are we holding to the staff's recommendation? What are we going to do with the fees?
I will have the staff to answer that question.
Chair Osmond and Councilmember Rainville, I'll have our Licensing and Consumer Services Manager, Amy Lingo, answer that question.
Thank you, Chair Osmond. This is the annual adjustment based off of the federal PCE exchange, and it is an inflationary increase based off of those numbers. The increase would be for the daily storage, changing from $36 a day to $37 a day, and it would be changing the maximum allowed towing rate to, I believe it was like a $6 increase, and it is a yearly inflationary increase study based off of federal numbers.
Thank you, Director, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Rainville. Is there any other question? Seeing none, I'll approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. I also would like to recognize we have been joined by Councilmember Robin Wansley and Council Vice President Aisha Chuktai. On our next item is a public hearing on the ordinance to amend previous provision to establish a minimum driver compensation for TNC companies. We have a number of people sign up to speak on this matter. I would like to explain the process. We will first have a presentation from the staff, and then we will open the floor for a public comment. If you would like to speak and have not signed up yet, please see the clerk to sign up. I will call on speakers in order that they are signed up, and each person will have up to 2 minutes. After everyone has spoken, we will close the public hearing and have a discussion, then vote on the ordinance. After the vote, we will take 10 minutes recess to allow everyone to exit the chambers before we resume our business. And now I will ask our staff, Amy Lingo, to give us presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair Osmond and committee members. I'm Amy Lingo, Manager for Licenses and Consumer Services, presenting an ordinance amendment relating to Title 13, Chapter 343, Transportation Network Companies. The goal of this proposed ordinance is to establish a minimum wage equivalent to increase income and economic stability for the entire TNC driver workforce. The ordinance that is before you today is addressing the minimum wage compensation for transportation network company drivers. On January 30th of this year, Andrew Hawkins from the Policy and Research Division of the Office of the City Auditor presented a compensation rate model analysis study. 3 models were studied. Model A, minimum compensation rate of $1.40 per mile and 51 cents per minute for the time during transportation of a rider. Model B, a minimum compensation rate of $1.17 per mile and 34 cents per minute for the time during transportation of a rider. Model C, a flat rate of $24 per hour, applied only during time on the way to pick up a rider or during the time of transportation of a rider. Upon receipt of the study, the authors of this amendment have chosen to pursue Model A as the compensation plan. Oops. The policy compensation plan breaks down as thus: $1.40 per mile and 51 cents per minute while in active transport of a passenger. So not on the way to pick up, not on an after drop-off, but while a passenger is in vehicle. If the vehicle is an approved wheelchair accessible vehicle, the rate to be paid is $1.81 per mile, 51 cents per minute while in active transport of said passenger. There is a $5 minimum. This is not the base fare. This is the minimum of how much the driver will receive. 80% of any canceled rides fees will go to the driver. There are tip protections, and tips are not to be counted towards the compensation plan and are to be processed separately. No deductions without consent of the driver, nor for TNC profit. The drivers are required to receive compensation within a reasonable time frame, which is no greater than 7 days. Minimum compensation due for this is due for the portion of the ride that occurs only within the city of Minneapolis. That concludes my presentation. I'll stand for any comments or questions you may have.
Thank you so much. We'll have the question at the end, but now, thank you for your presentation. Now I'm going to proceed to open the public hearing. We have a number of people that sign up. We have people that are on the overflow room. I will call first 3 names. So you would know that your name will be next. First 3 names, the first person to speak is Farhan Badel. Next person is Shafi Sugo and Jessica Myers. Farhan Badel. You have 2 minutes to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, council members. My name is Farhan Badel. I'm a father of 3. I'm the sole provider of my family. I've been driving for 5 years. Thank you for not forgetting about us, not giving up on us. As we're here today, just asking for fair compensation, you know. It's been really hard the last couple of years as inflation has gone up, the cost of living has gone up, our rates have decreased. According to the data from the Department of Labor here in the state of Minnesota, in 2022, Uber and Lyft drivers completed over 11 million trips in Hennepin County. City of Minneapolis is the most populous city in Hennepin County. It doesn't take a genius to know that most of those rides were completed here. A ride from downtown Minneapolis to St. Cloud pays $45 to $50. Just look around you. Uber and Lyft see us as cheap labor. That should not be tolerated in the city of Minneapolis. All we're asking is for fair compensation. That's all we're asking for. We're not cheap labor. We're ambassadors of this city. We're ambassadors of convenience, safety, and efficiency. All we are asking for is for the city council members to do what's right. All we are asking for is that we, at the very minimum, we deserve minimum wage or fair wage. That's all we're asking for. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Farhan, for your comment. Next person is Shafi Sugo.
Thank you, Mr. Jamal. Hello, my name is Shafi Sugo. I'm a parent and a head of a household of 5. I'm also the sole breadwinner of my family. Our source of income comes through my driving profession. I have been driving for TNC in the last 4 years, and in those 4 years, I spent 6 to 7 days a week and over 50 hours on the street driving to at least pay our bills. But it's getting harder to accomplish that even when I'm putting more hours day after the other. Because our wages are slashed more than half over the years I was driving for TNC, while the cost of living has skyrocketed. Many of us have invested this business with all of their savings and are losing every day. Uber and Lyft don't simply pay drivers enough for expenses and bills. And at the moment, at least 2 things will happen when one works as full-time for Uber and Lyft. You will either be homeless or live in your car in parking lots. We don't want to go to the government for assistance, but we are here to ask you, the great council members of City of Minneapolis, to support this ordinance, which would at least give us a fair pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Shafi, for your comment. Next person is Jessica.
Greetings. Uber is my primary gig and has been for over a year. Prior to that, I primarily drove Uber Eats and DoorDash. I started driving for Instacart and DoorDash in 2019, and this has been this style of gig work has been my primary source of income ever since. I like Uber for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is Uber pays 100% tuition with Arizona State University. This ordinance is much better than previous things I've read that are trying to do the same thing, but there are still a few things I would like to see changed. Paid for the distance of pickup, a minimum payment for food and Connect delivery such as Uber Eats and DoorDash, and I was wondering why it says or English, not and English. My biggest problem is not that we get paid while the rider is in the what we get paid while the rider is in the car. The problem is the distance we drive to pick them up. Yes, that's true about the St. Cloud being $45. It's atrocious, but I had a ride yesterday. It was a total of 28 miles. I was paid 77.5 cents per mile, but while the rider was in the car, it was $1.16 a mile. And the problem with that is the distance to picking up the rider. I used to drive Uber Eats extensively and DoorDash on my bicycle. I stopped doing both because only a minimum fee of $3 for food and $5 delivery for items like a 40-pound bag of dog food or multiple cases of 30 packs of beer, or an Apple laptop. $5 to drive miles to deliver a laptop. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was English, not or English. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for your comment. The next 3 people are Shannon Berry, John Coleman, and Eid Ali. Shannon, you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Henry David Thoreau wrote Civil Disobedience. People should defy unjust laws in favor of the moral good, which Muhammad, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King supported in our rights for civil movements and justice for the people. The new age of technology and the acts that these big businesses are taking over need to be monitored so that the people don't lose out on just fair pay for their work. Drivers suffer raising gas prices, inflation, safety concerns, underpayment, and overworking. Rising maintenance costs take out a lot of our money, and companies on the internet need regulation, and our essential drivers holding people together need a voice for fair pay, accountability. We are the face of their $200 billion businesses and the people's major link to every financial success. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next person is Josh Coleman.
I don't own a car and am dependent on mass transit and TNC. The service TNC drivers provide to me is a need. I was disturbed to learn they aren't paid minimum wage. There are times I'm dependent on TNC drivers, and it upsets me to recognize my needs are fueling their exploitation. I chat with drivers about their working conditions, and they are paying for gas, car maintenance, and other work expenses. The companies that contract with them are profitable. We know the money is there to pay them more. They deserve more for everything they do to make it possible for me to live without a car. They deserve the basic human dignity of a livable wage and our gratitude.
Thank you so much for your comment. Eid Ali.
Thank you so much, Council Member Mr. Osman. It's a great opportunity to just come in front of you. As you're well aware of, we have been in a journey for the last 2 years where we wanted to get a fair compensation for those wonderful drivers who are out there every day. I would say 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They're not asking for handouts. They're fighting just for fair compensation. This great city of Minneapolis is known to be on the side of the workers. And I believe that if we wanted to be on the right side, as we were before, on this issue, we are requesting all of you to support this. Me also, as the head of Minnesota Uber and Lyft Drivers Association, who has been in this struggle for quite some time. I am a dad. I'm a parent of 5 kids. I'm not asking anything more than what I should get. I believe in working and working hard, and that's what I have been doing. But what's missing in this equation is fairness, because when I work hard, I deserve to get something that I deserve. I deserve to get what I should work for. So it has been really a struggle, and it's still getting even worse. So we're asking again, the great council members of City of Minneapolis, to look at the faces of those people. They're not trying to get assistance from the government. They want to work, and they want to earn for their own families. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Again, these drivers are getting paid less than half of what they were getting paid 10 years ago. They're not even asking to get a raise. They're asking at least to come back a level close to where it was 10 years ago. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eid, for your comment. Next 3 people are Matt Froyland, Mohammed Igal, and Shoaib Mohammed. If you need a translator, or if you feel comfortable speaking your language, please let us know. We will have a translator for you. Or one of your friends can translate for you.
Thank you, council members. I'm a resident of Ward 5 and a frequent Uber and Lyft passenger. I ask that you support Model A to guarantee that drivers make the city's minimum wage. If I buy groceries or lunch or a cup of coffee in Minneapolis, I know that the employees of that business are being paid minimum wage. There's no reason the same shouldn't be true when I get an Uber or a Lyft. If small businesses here in Minneapolis can do it, so can billion-dollar companies. City policy should be designed not for those billion-dollar Silicon Valley tech companies, but for the workers who live here, shop here, and build communities here. Do not let Uber and Lyft scare you away from ensuring a minimum wage for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next person is Muhammad Igal.
Thank you. My name is Muhammad Igal, president of Multi Members Association. This is a great opportunity to have this opportunity in front of the city council members. Here today are number of driver advocate groups. I think maybe 3 of them, and they all in agreement with what you're doing. And I think I'm glad that city council members, as I heard from city council member Jamal, you already hired your staff to study this case and to know the truth of the matter. And now I think you already realize what is going on. And we told you a number of times, we've been before you before now, we explained to you what's happening and what's taking place in rideshare companies. And we tell you repeatedly that drivers are getting half of what they deserve, half of what they deserve. Almost what they're getting is just their expense. They're not getting no profit, they're not benefiting anything. All they get is just the expense. And I'm telling you, and I can assure you, if any driver who is here today, his car or her car broke down, they won't be able to fix it. But instead of fixing it from the money they made from Uber, they will be fixing it using credit cards. I swear God, I'm not lying it. Nobody can fix their cars. They cannot do. They don't make money. They just make their expense. They may pay their bills. They may, have some cash or whatever it is, but they won't be able to fix their cars. And the expense, also, I think I reached time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next person is Shuaib.
My name is Shuaib Mohammed. I'm from Minnesota Rideshare Drivers Association. I'm a public relations officer. Thank you very much for this opportunity today. Our organization had an agreement with Uber almost a year ago with $1.17 per mile and 34 cents per minute. On that time, everybody was wondering and was a little bit weird, but that was the minimum that we can work in this city or in the state of Minnesota. Currently, as you know, the bill was vetoed by the governor of this state, and still we're struggling to get a bill that is actually possible for the public of Minnesota, livable wage for the driver, and also something that makes sense for the election officials that they are doing favor for their all employee, the Uber drivers, Lyft, and also for the public that they are presenting. So at the moment, still we're sticking with our agreement with Uber at $1.17. But the most of the places, there was a task force appointed by the governor, and then there was a proposal, probably $1.30, 35 cents a minute. So we are supporting where the most of the public and the drivers' interest is. Where the public interest is almost $1.30 around there, or 35 cents a minute. So that's why we are supporting. We don't want a bill that the governor was vetoed, and here in Council of Minneapolis proposing that something more than what the governor already vetoed. So we don't want redundancy and reputation. We are all family members. We need to work, and we're working for the city. As you just sitting here, we're the people who elected you, and then what we needed is something that make ourselves a livable way, and also good for the drivers and good for the public. We don't want to always come to a meeting and hearings that are not fruitful. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next three people I will be calling is Mohammed Mursal, Ahmed Ahmed, and Matthew McGlory. Yes, thank you. Mohammed Mursal, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, good afternoon. So I'm coming, I'm driving Lyft and Uber. All is closed without reason. One is 5 years, one is 1 year. That's why I'm coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next person is Ahmed Ahmed.
Thank you, Mr. Osman, and thank you to city members. I don't know if you can see this well. I have something to share with you. I can't see really.
Yeah.
So, as you know, Lyft announced 3 weeks ago that they're gonna give drivers.
Here we go.
As you see there, Lyft announced 2 weeks ago that they're gonna give drivers 70% what the customer pays. And we have been fighting over a year to get our fair share what the customer pays. I'm gonna show you what they come up. They come up in order to cover the 70% that the Lyft takes from us. They come up with this solution 3 weeks ago. Look, this customer, do you see this? $54, that's what customer pays. And they come up with EST, external fees, $4. We don't know what that is for. It's new to us. And they come up there, $4 there, and they come up EST, Lyft fees, $28.44. That's Lyft fees. To put together $4 plus 28, they took $33 out of 54. That's what the Lyft took it. And they give us $20 and 9 cents out of $54. So I'm here to support Model A. What you are doing right, I support you and I rely on you. You're going to do the right decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for your comment. Matthew.
Good afternoon. My name is Matthew McGlory, North Minneapolis resident. I've been driving Lyft and Uber for 7 years. I've done over 10,000 Lyft rides, over almost 9,000 Uber rides. Hold on. February 27th at 4:14. Can you all see this? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yep. So that's one. I'm going to just go through my last 3 airport rides. That was at 4:15. This one was at, hold on, 4:59. Customer paid $42.89. I'm gonna show you my last one. Okay. This one was at 10. So what I want to talk to you about is the elephant in the room. And in the land of 10,000 fakes, we know what's going on with rideshare. And so what do we need to do to cut through the apathy? What do we need to do to cut through the apathy? Because you can't sit up and say that we don't know what's going on with Lyft and Uber drivers. Lyft and Uber Council is the largest non-employer employer in your city. And what I mean by that is that we're not W-2 employees, we're independent contractors. You might have 25 or 30,000 Lyft or Uber drivers, albeit we don't all drive full-time. Some of us have a full-time schedule, a portion of us have a part-time schedule, but you all know the data is empirical, and you all know this. You all know this. You all know that Uber and Lyft are finessing us, and they're finding creative, strategic ways to take money out of our pockets, and we drive. We drive when there's 6 inches of snow out. We drive when we have to take a customer to Mayo or to Rochester. We drive when we have to take a customer to Duluth. So we need the city of Minneapolis to stand up for us. And thank you for everyone that came, because I see some city council people that aren't even here. Thank you so much for coming and hearing us out.
Thank you so much, Matthew. Next 3 people are Adil and Mustafa Abdullah and Maryam Brown. Maryam Brown.
I am Adil, father of 5 kids, 4 girls and 1 boy, okay? I'm gonna show you one example of Uber request. Uber, over here, is Uber X. They provide us upfront is $64.32, and driving hour is 1 hour 46 minutes. That's mean 91 miles, okay?
We can't see the whole thing. Can you put it in the middle? There we go.
You see
Thank
it?
you. Yes.
$64.32 for 91 miles. That's mean 1 hour 46 minute driving. That's mean people they think it's $36 hour. It's not $36 hour. It's $2.75 hour. You know, if we the cost, if you want to operate any vehicle in Minnesota, according to IRS, you need 0.67 mile per hour. No, 0.67 cents a mile to operate any vehicle, business vehicle, doesn't matter. Like Lyft, Uber, taxi, you need that. Look here, we get only $2.75 in hour. That's not fair. Our wages go lower, 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 lower. You know, now we come to you guys, all of you, to help us. You know, we trust you guys. We trust you a lot, 100%. We trust all the members of Minneapolis to help us. We are in bad situation now. You know, we can pay our food, we can pay our rent, we can make payment, house payment. What are we gonna do? Our house, they're gonna go foreclosure. The bank, they're gonna take our houses. Who gonna pay for that? Nobody gonna. Uber, Lyft, they don't pay for that. They don't care about us. They don't care. They care about to making money, behalf us, to make us as many money, to need to make money. We don't think about to make money. Before, I've been driving with Uber and Lyft almost like 9 or 10 years, you know?
Your minutes are
Okay.
over, if you can wrap it up. Thank you so much. Next person is Mustafa Abdullah. Senator Umar Fatah.
You can call me Mustafa also.
Okay.
Thank you all so much for giving me the time. My name is Omar Fateh. I'm the state senator representing District 62, South Minneapolis. I remember 2 years ago now, I think it was May or June 2022, I got a call from MOLDA, the Minnesota Uber Lyft Drivers Association, and Councilmember Jamal Osman got the same call. They wanted to meet with a group of us legislators, state and local legislators, about some of the issues that they're facing as drivers. And I was expecting a smaller meeting, maybe a dozen or so people. So when we came, there were several hundred drivers that came to talk about what was going on, talking about the abuse, talking about the activations, talking about the massive amount of profits and revenue that Uber is making while their wages have stagnated or even gone down year after year. So taking that back, myself and the legislators and city council members, we made a commitment to the drivers that we would do something about this. And we took it back. We started working. And we were able to pass something at the state legislature last year. Unfortunately, it was vetoed, but we look at you to say that we're working in partnership. This bill here is not in any way going against what we're working on to bring back at the state this year. We're working in partnership, and I'm really honored. I'm proud to see the work that you've put in and what's coming up for the, I believe, $1.40 and 52 cents, because Uber has been making billions and billions of dollars. Every quarter, billions, every month, billions, and they're making that amount of money off of the backs of the workers, stealing from their wages. And these folks are not just fighting, they're fighting to put food on the table, fighting for their families. And we've heard all of the stories about how they've been struggling. And these are folks that we rely on. We rely on them on the weekends, we rely on them to go to our appointments, we rely on them to get to work. So I think it's only fair that they get their fair share and that they earn a livable wage. And we have a saying at the state capitol, when the federal government gets it wrong, then it's up to us to make it right. But now, when the state gets it wrong, we're looking to you to get it right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comments, Senator Fatah. Next person is Mariana Brown.
Hi, everyone. I'm just here to say a few things because basically what's going on with Uber and Lyft. We as a people should stand up for one another in the state. Minnesota is a state that have no law to protect the drivers. Other states have, but Minnesota don't have. So we're asking you to pass a bill, whatever needs to be done for these drivers, because we're suffering out there. Gas price is going up. We're getting less than we were making. Gas price go down, we getting less. And it's going down each time. Each time you get a trip, sometimes you don't even want to take the trip. And we're sorry, and most passengers will complain, but if you have to drive 30 miles to pick up someone to make $5, if you do the math, it's not worth it. So something needs to be done. In New York, you'll get paid from you get the trip to when you drop off. You get paid per minute, per mile. And I could speak for New York because I work in New York for Uber for almost 6 years. There's law and regulation there. So we're asking for the same law for you guys to stand up with us and show that you support us, because we need you to stand in solidarity, because the big corporation is taking advantage and they're killing the little people. So we don't want to go and live off public assistance and food stamps and medical. We want to do that for ourselves. I work sometimes 70 hours a week, 72 hours a week. I'm out there working, and we're scared for our life. And certain times at night, we're scared because we don't know who we picking up. People come with names, daddy love mommy, mommy love daddy. These are not names that you should be picking up, because if something go wrong, they're going to say daddy love mommy. Who are they? We need for them to stand up and be accountable for us as driver, that we could move forward and stand in solidarity. Minimum wage, people that work in McDonald's and Burger King, they could say, I take home $300 a week. We can't say that because we don't know how much we take in and we work putting more hours in. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next three people I will call is Eid, Yusuf Haji, Abdirashaf Mohammed. No, I guess Eid I've already spoken. Yusuf Haji, Abdirashraf Mohammed, and Jamal Hassan. Yusuf?
Hello everyone, my name is Yusuf Haji and I'm here as a spokesman for Mulder members. As you can see, there is a couple of groups that are representing rideshare drivers in this state of Minnesota. And so we're here today collectively speaking with one voice on that we need something done. And what needs to be done and why it should be done is simple. Equity and inclusion, we always say. On level of government, we always say we want equity and inclusion. This is now the ball is in your court. The other thing we always talk about is economic empowerment. Most of these drivers, majority are from the Latino community, from the African community, from South America, from Africa, from Europe, some parts of Europe. Not all of them are rich, by the way. So they do this. Some part-time, some full-time, but a lot of them depend on these jobs to support their families. So if we want to really have a fair distribution, because if they get more, that means what? Our local businesses are going to do better. Our local restaurants are going to do better because that's where they eat, that's where they shop, that's where they go and do what they need to do. So that money goes to our communities, it goes to our schools, it goes to our learning madrasas, what we call for the Muslim community. So when they get better, the parents here and there and everywhere who are rideshare drivers get to take their schools, their kids to these small after-school learning programs. So this is what we're talking about when we say we're serious about this. And we're also talking about addressing disparity. I gotta be quick, I only got 12 seconds. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it, and community investments. So we're here to support, we're all here together. Just remember, all different rideshare drivers groups are here supporting this bill. Thank you very much, City Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yusuf, for your comment. Abdirashaf Mohammed.
Hi everyone. I don't want to take long, but I want to say these two companies, I call them high-tech robbery, and as you can see here, that's $93. Sorry. A couple of weeks ago there was a snow, as you know. So during the snow, driving is very hard. Roads are very rough. Safety, is very, very hard too. So I use my own driver app to check how much they charge in the rider. And this is what I saw. From downtown to the airport, UberX was $93. And guess what? That's how much they were offering me the same night, $11.49, driving 18 miles, picking up a passenger and drop him off to the airport. So you can see the gap. Oh, sorry. You can see the gap. So that means, these guys are robbing us. And it's you guys who can stop them. So please help us to stop these guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Jamal Hassan.
Good afternoon, council members. Good afternoon, everybody else. My name is Jamal Hassan. I am with Marda, Minnesota Rideshare Drivers Association. And we all know that the drivers, wherever they are from, whoever they are, they're struggling. And there's no question about it. And we know that last year there was 2 bills that are being passed by both City of Minneapolis and the state, and they both rejected. And we don't want to repeat the same way. We don't want to keep going back and forth. We want to make sure that these drivers, we heard their struggles, we live by them, we work with them, we see them every day. We want to make sure that something is done for them. And for example, Washington, City of Seattle passed a bill for the drivers, I believe is $1.40. And then what happened to the drivers? They lost over 30% of the rides that they were doing. So we don't want to hurt the drivers. We don't want to hurt anybody. We want something that the drivers can make a living. So if we say we can pass $1.80, $2.90, that's not going to help the drivers. What's going to help the drivers is something that they can make more than what they're making right now, and that they can live by it, and that the passengers can also pay. So we don't want drivers sitting down getting nothing. So we will hope, your efforts will pay for, and then the state will also do something. So we'd like that to be combined, and both the state and the city to come up with the same bill that can pass and that can help the drivers. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comment. We have about 10 more people here, but if you have not signed up, please see the city clerk to sign up. Next 3 people are Suleiman Ahmed, Murid Amani, and Stephen Cooper. Suleiman, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Council Chairman, Councilman Chairman Osman, and the rest of the councillors. My name is Suleiman Ahmed. Thanks, Mr. Eid, invited me from St. Paul today. And I used to be a Uber driver. I did drive long time ago, but I'm no longer driving now. And the reason, that's why I'm going to share today. Plus what these people are sharing, all the story that they're showing on their mobiles. And also, I want to share what people not yet share. So this is new. This is, for example, what had happened to me, and I'm no longer, I want to not drive for Uber and what you call Lyft. I have a car, which is 8-seat. Then I'm a married man, 4 children. I'm paying rent for $2,000. I have a lot of other costs. Then I took my car and I registered Uber and Lyft in order to drive. So I was broke. I was not having money. Then I go to the next door friend of mine. I borrowed $50 just to put gas so that I can work all that day. And then I pay him back when I work it. So all that day from 7 in the morning to 8 p.m. evening, I was been driving, and I earned only $49. What I borrowed was $50. So I was still not covered the $1 short. So I pay a lot of gas. The people, what they not share is that I'm driving, I'm the driver, I'm the car owner, I'm expending my time, my gas. I'm also having stress. But Uber, they only put the platform there. Plus, as you see the funds that people are sharing, you get not only half of it, you get less than half. Is that fair? All these people has blessed me. We are constituents. You are our representing people. So please think about this. This is a rig. This is a bad system, and they cannot defend, or we can't defend. For me, I'm no longer working. Sorry, I'm no longer working for them. I quit it because I don't want to be abused. And this is what I'm facing. These are the constituents really struggling because they are rent payer. And today we are here just to share this painful story and struggling story. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next person is Murid Amani.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Murid Amini. I grew up in Cedar Riverside, and I still work there today as a PCA for my father. I also work in downtown Minneapolis. I am a former Uber driver. I stopped driving because financially it didn't make sense, and I have plenty of family members who are former Uber and Lyft drivers. I am here specifically to address the threat that these incumbent TNC companies will pull out of the city and stop operations if we pass an ordinance that creates fair wages for drivers. I want to share something with you. That's the financial performance of Uber. As you can see, their profitability has gone up over 100% in the last year. Clearly, they can afford to take a cut on some of the pay that they make off of drivers' hard work. That's why today I have the pleasure of introducing Pickup. I'm a co-founder of a locally based TNC company that pledges to give fair, equitable wages to TNC drivers. Thank you. And we have the flexibility and agility to meet any ordinance that the city creates, and we'll create a model that is both fair to the drivers as well as the riders. We have a low-cost model, and we invite these other TNC companies to leave the city. We're going to be ready in the next couple of weeks to start operations, and we're ready to take your rides. Feel free to connect with me afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks for your comment. Please, no claps. Next person is Stephen Cooper.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members. Thank you very much for all the work you've done. And one of the very important things to remember is you've done the work. You've looked at the facts, you've separated fiction from truth, and you know what the fair minimum wage is. That's the important first step. You've done it, and you put it in this bill, and you did it twice. You did it before the veto, and you did it after the veto. So that means you start off in a superior position to where you've ever been before. You know the truth. In this particular case, as somebody already mentioned, the IRS says it costs 67 cents a mile to operate a car. That's all paid for by the drivers. There's nothing paid for by the TNCs. About 150 miles a day are what are driven by the drivers. That's $100 a day in cost. And you heard the individual talking about he made $49 after he borrowed $50 to work that day. The important thing is to remember a lot of that, even after your bill, is not compensated. It's not compensated because it's driving without a passenger. If you're sitting at the airport in that huge lot for an hour, you get nothing. If you're driving back from Rochester, you get nothing. You've got all kinds of situations where you're putting miles on the car, but you're getting no compensation, and that's tremendously important. The other things to remember here is, as the last speaker just mentioned, the TNCs bring nothing but a software. They bring no equipment, they bring no investments, they bring nothing. It's the workers, the drivers, who make the full investment. $1.40, I want you to remember, is not a living wage. It's a minimum wage. Most of us pay more than a minimum wage. Here we have two businesses at least, TNC, saying you should support our ability to pay this particular group of people less than minimum wage so we can be more successful. That's absurd. Every single person who's appeared in front of you in the past when minimum wages were imposed gave, oops, I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, for your comments. Next three people are, I'm sorry if I pronounce your name, Shaysan Thompson, Daoud Kasa, and Omar and Abdullah Saeed. Shaysan.
It is important to hold Uber and Lyft to the same standard of at least $15 for drivers, just as we hold any other small business on that proportion, to the policy to create a healthy and local economy and close loopholes. Right now, according to a MIT research, and this is about 4 years old, the living wage for one person is $22.49. At least give the drivers who work in our city the current existing minimum wage standard and work for more. I support this ordinance to be passed and for the hard work of the drivers in our city. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Next person is Daoud Kasa. Right there, sir.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for giving me this 2 minutes opportunity. To be honest, to tell you the whole story, 2 hours is not enough. But in these 2 minutes, I'm telling you one thing underlining that prevent me from being homeless and a burden for your state, for your city, for your for the nation as a whole. Because things are going worse and worse. Do not see me as I'm dressed well. Inside me, that's really, I'm telling you. I don't know what I'm gonna pay now for IRS as a W-2 taxpayer. I am nil, I'm empty. Please prevent me. As a city high official, you have the right to do that. You have the right to do that. If somebody asks you why you do this, because to prevent the people, the citizens, the nations from being homeless and a burden to the nation. I don't want to come every month to look for food stamp and something like that. I am a workable person. I can work. I can help myself with a fair payment. That's what I'm asking you. Prevent me from being homeless. Prevent me from being homeless, a burden for the nation and for the state as a whole. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Next person is Abdullah Saeed. Abdullah Saeed. Right. Next person is, just says Muhammad with no last name. Is Muhammad here? are there, if you are on the overflow room, you're welcome to come. We can get back to you if we pass you. So we will be moving to the next person. Matt or Meth. And okay. Looks like we have few people on the overflow room. I'm gonna repeat the names. Abdullah Saeed, just the name Muhammad, and Matt, last name O. Right. We're gonna continue moving. The next person is Aliya Ba or Ali Ba. Say your name. You have 2 minutes.
Matt Olander. I am just here as a community member. I don't believe that we should allow Uber and Lyft to push us around on how we are going to set policy in the city. I believe they are bluffing when they say they're going to pull out of the city. I don't see that happening. And even if it did, I don't believe we should be afraid of the task of building community-grounded alternatives. I believe the city is more than capable of doing that. And yeah, we should trust the people of our city to lead that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you are in the overflow room, please feel free to come inside. If I call your name, sir, state your name.
Hello, my name is Mohammed Idrus. I'm Uber Lyft driver. I'm here to support what other drivers are saying. Drivers are struggling. They are not earning minimum wage. So we ask the city council members to pass this ordinance. I just wanted to address a few things that were said here. Some speakers here that were talking on behalf of the drivers, and they're not really drivers. They're talking about $1.17 or $1.35, and as we know, Uber and Lyft are trying to manipulate the system. They're recruiting other people, and I don't know, maybe they're paying something. I don't know. I can't prove that, but that's something that's real. So put that into consideration. There are those who are opposing the drivers here. They don't want anything to be buzzed, and they already spoke. And they're, so we need to be careful with that. There are a few of them who are here today in attendance. So we ask you to be with the drivers and support the drivers. We are really struggling, and they're unable to pay their rent. As you said, some may be even homeless. Who knows? It's just a matter of time if you don't, pass this resolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comments. We're gonna continue moving, but if I skip your name, we'll come back. If I call your name and you haven't showed up yet. The next person is Saeed Aidid. Zakaria Abdi. Ariana Fieldman. Saeed Aidid, Zakaria Abdi, Ariana Fieldman. Say your name, sir.
Zachary.
Zachary.
Thank you for inviting me here. I'm glad to be in front of my leaders. And I'm a Lyft driver. I want to show you guys some of the things that is happening. Lyft and Uber told the drivers they will pay 75% out of the ride. And if you guys look here, this ride I just picked February 27.
You put it in the center
Yeah.
of the screen.
So I
a little
get
bit down. I think there's blurry in there.
this way. Oh, yeah.
Right there. Yes.
So I get paid $6.20, and the customer paid $14.73. That's not even half of. It's not 50-50. Sometimes as a Lyft driver, I feel like helping a scammer to scam my own community. And before, I was working at the Holiday Inn Airport by Bloomington, and I was working 90 hours a week, and I will get only 93, 83. So I was always missing hours. And when I told the company that this is what is going on, they told me I'd rather resign or work there, me working double shifts and losing 30 minutes every day, 7 days a week. So I wanted my leaders to help us and to get also safety. Lyft send us a background check, but they don't send the customers to a background check. So it's not safe for me to drive Lyft because I don't know if this person is a murderer or a killer, and I have 9 kids to feed on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zakaria, for your comment. Next person is Ariana.
Hi there. Hello. My name is Ariana Feldman. I'm a Ward 6 resident and a member of this community. I'm here to speak in support of this ordinance. I am a regular user of Uber and Lyft rides. I don't drive myself, so I have to rely on this service. Because of that, I understand that this is a really crucial service that members of our community are doing to help our city to continue functioning, and they should be compensated adequately for the work that they do. It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, that companies like Uber and Lyft are threatening to raise prices or to leave the state. But I want to urge you to stand with residents and not let these companies hold us hostage like this. As a rider and a resident, I would be I understand that this might come with price increases, and I believe that that is a very worthwhile price to pay for the members of our community to be compensated justly, and for all of us to have what we need in our city. I really want to urge you, these companies do not get to continue to exploit our immigrant communities and our communities of color like this. And so I urge you to stand with residents and support this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Next 3 people are Musa Muhammad, Alexis Collins, and Sadia Aden, or Saida Aden. Is Musa Muhammad here? Alex Collins and Saida. Saida, if you can come forward.
Hi all, my name is Sadia, and I'm speaking for Unite Here Local 17. Local 17 support minimum wage for all workers and are fully in support of minimum wages for Uber and Lyft drivers. Thank you.
Thank you for a comment. Musa Muhammad, Alex, or Alexis Collins.
Hello, I'm Alexis Collins. I am a board member of Satul, a low-wage organization. I started on the Fight for 15 when I was 18. I was 3 months pregnant with my daughter. I was making $7.25 at the time. I marched up and down the street because that wage was not sustainable. The cost of living goes up every day. These companies are multi-million-dollar corporations that can pay the $15. When $15 pass, small businesses start giving $15 out with their paid sick days. They make these threats, but in all naturality, if they leave Minneapolis, they're going to lose half of their funding. We have to make it fair for the Lyft and Uber drivers to make a living wage to support their family with gas, insurance, and etc. that they have to put in their cars. A lot of things happen to Lyft drivers and Uber drivers while on the job that is not even covered. So with helping them pull up the wages will help them take care of their families and cover all the necessary they have to. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. And the last three person here that are listed is Claudia and Harold Batson. Overflow room, sir. Go ahead.
Chair, council members, there's three verses that come to mind as I think about this exploitation of our drivers. 1 Timothy 8, the love of money is the root of all evil. When Moses got the commandments, he was told, you shall have no other God before me. And Jesus taught us, give us this day our daily bread. The cost of living in Minneapolis, the housing, the child care, the health insurance, the gentrification, people being pushed out of Minneapolis because they can't afford to live here anymore. All that's related to this. The American trump card is, I have to answer to my shareholders. These companies give campaign contributions to our politicians. The voices and concerns of your constituents get drowned out. So you've had a veto over the mayor regarding the Gaza resolution. I urge you to have a veto on this matter and bring justice for these workers so they can find their daily bread.
Thank you for your comments. If I called you your name and you have not spoken, please come forward and speak. And if you would like to make a comment or speak, you can also come forward. Last call for anyone who would like to speak. Straight, you have taken your 2 minutes already.
Yeah, you said anyone who wants
No,
to speak?
no, person who have
someone
not
who didn't
spoken.
speak. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Miscommunication.
Oh, you said that.
If you have not spoken.
Yeah, no, it's spoken. That's right.
Yes, come forward if you have not spoken yet. Have you spoken yet?
My name is Sanwene. Thank you for the City Council. We ask you today, bill our bill, because I am father of 6 kids. I started Uber and Lyft drivers for 2015. When Uber and Lyft come city Minneapolis, starting good money, and we pay our bills. We're going the homeless. I'm the full-time job for the Uber and Lyft drivers. Last bill, Jacob Fry, he vetoed our bills. So support us and pass our bills, please. And we tell Jacob Fry, sign our bills when they city Minneapolis, they pass the bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I realize there are people that are on the overflow room, and there are people that have signed up that I have called that have not come forward. But the last call is anyone here to speak or to comment who have not spoken already. Right? Seeing no one else wishing to speak, I will close the public hearing. And are there any questions or discussions from committee members or council members who are guests on this committee? Question is for staff or comment in general? Councilmember Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and just wanted to thank everyone who came through to give testimony and my colleagues who've been leading on this issue. It is always, maybe never all that fun to sit for an hour, but when it's the people of Minneapolis coming to tell you what their needs are, and as you all have done today, it's well worth the time. So just wanted to come in and thank you all for being here. And, I'm not sure if one of my colleagues is eager to make the motion, but so I'll hold off for now. But yes, this is great work, and I'm excited to support this work.
Thank you, Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm wondering if our staff, if there's any data on the results in Seattle, the impact of raising the wages to the low-income neighborhoods or the disabled community, hospitality workers. What happened in Seattle?
Through the chair, thank you, council member. That's a good question. At this point, we do not have any true information from Seattle, just some anecdotal research, but no data points that we can give you at this time. I can, however, reach out to my contacts to see if we have any updated information.
So is that because Seattle, it's so new, or we just haven't tried to get the information before?
It's a complicated study, and there's a lot of nuance to the reporting, especially when you add in the pandemic and the changes in the process and the rider behavior. It's not just a black or white kind of data point scenario. But I can see if they have more information for us to be able to present it to later.
Thank you. And then when you are asking for more data, someone had mentioned that Uber and Lyft make billions in profit every quarter. I'm just curious how much money they make. So if you could find that out.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions for council members? Council member Cashman.
Thank you, Chair Osman. Comment for the drivers who are here. Thank you for taking time out of your day. And thank you for advocating for your community and coming together to collectively bring better working conditions for our city. And I'm especially excited that local companies are willing, entrepreneurs are willing to step up and to become the local business force that we need. We do still need rideshare companies, although I'd love to see a future where we have public transit for all, but we're not there yet. If our staff member could come up, I would like to ask a question about enforcement of the ordinance and what that looks like for who will be in charge of enforcing that Uber and Lyft comply with the ordinance.
Chair Osman, committee member Cashman, thank you for that question. At this time, the license is being administered by my division, so we will be responsible for holding them accountable for any ordinance that they fall under this chapter. So we would follow our normal enforcement procedures.
Okay, can you share a little bit what those enforcement procedures are?
So we are complaint driven, so if we receive a complaint of an issue of not receiving the proper payments based off of, drives through Minneapolis, we would then follow through. We would reach in our contacts for whatever TNC that it was, and then we would bring them into discussion about what it was in order to be able to get them to correct the error. If they correct the error, then we just move on from there. If they do not correct the error, then we move on towards such matters such as citations and settlement conferences and conditions.
Thank you.
Follow-up question for Councilmember Ellison.
Just curious, and if you don't have an answer, that's okay, but even without, once the ordinance is in place, even without city intervention, would the drivers have private right of action to compel compliance if they wanted to come together and move forward with their own private right of action?
There is collective bargaining and action in this ordinance as well, and any worker is allowed to address issues with their employer or contractor.
Follow-up question for Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you. I believe this question is for our city attorney or clerks. If the state legislature this year does pass a bill that supersedes this, how would our ordinance relate to the state law?
Mr. Chair and council members, we would have to see what direction the state takes, if any. There are a number of options or a number of different types of preemption. They could pass legislation that explicitly allows cities to have their own legislation. They could pass legislation that explicitly preempts any city from having any legislation on this topic, or they could do something in the middle. So it'd be a matter of kind of examining what, if anything, does come forward and adjusting at that point, although that's something that we do regularly when the state and the city both regulate different portions or different industries or similar in industries, and it's something that we'd be able to look at and examine and adjust to.
Thank you.
Councilmember Jenkins.
Thank you, Chair Osman, and I did put my thing down, but I will, I guess, to Councilmember Cashman's point, and I heard a number of speakers today state that they want to see a bill that supports drivers and consumers. And so, and then subsequently stated, we want something that's not going to be vetoed, right? They want to work together with the administration, with the governor, if that's the case, to come up with a solution that will be able to be enacted and not under. So I guess my question is, do we see this ordinance as being able to be supported by drivers, consumers, etc.?
Are that question directed to the authors or?
To the author. I think you're one of the authors.
Yes, yes, I will. Also, Councilmember Robin is here, who can answer that question. I'll pass it to her.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Councilmember Jenkins. I think if we're going by, testimony, even today, overwhelmingly, we heard drivers say they support a minimum compensation. And right now, that is what this ordinance does. It provides a per mile and per minute rate that has been studied a number of times that will get us a minimum wage equivalent, which is through Model A. And that is something that, again, drivers have supported. This is something that's reinforced by our own studies. And as other testifiers alluded to, in terms of impacts on consumers, again, council, we don't have any control over pricing models set by TNCs. What folks have, pointedly highlighted is they have substantial, and by they, both Uber and Lyft, have substantial profit margins where they could, so they choose to keep both rides affordable for consumers and to pay drivers a minimum wage, which is what they deserve. I think the focus of our work today through this ordinance is making sure that we don't allow loopholes to be exploited by multi-billion-dollar companies for ordinances that we already have on the books that small businesses are in compliance with. We have dozens, if not hundreds, of businesses across the city that is paying a minimum wage to their employees and their workers, and we shouldn't allow exemption for rideshare drivers. So that is the focus of this ordinance. There is wide support for that. And as our city attorney Fussy highlighted, that does not come in conflict with whatever actions they take at the state. Senator Fate highlighted that in his testimony as an author of the legislation at the state. So there's really no need to not move this forward. And I will hope I have support from my colleagues here on BIZ and at full council, the full 9, because concerns around a veto can easily be overridden by 9 votes. So that is the work that the co-authors have done for the past year to build that support, to do our due diligence and study this, to work with the drivers who spoke today, and feel very confident that the policy before you today reflects the right direction that we need to go towards.
The entire question was, how do we get to something that doesn't require a veto? I think that's what I heard from some of the testifiers today.
If I can try to jump, I think we as a council members do not control the veto. That's the mayor's power to exercise. I am just wanted to say that, and also I do want to add my comment, Councilmember. If you don't mind, I am really proud of the drivers who show up today. I'm very proud of you. We cannot take credit. This, you have came to us, you have organized it, you have come together, and you brought us here today. I do want to thank Special thanks to Councilmember Robin Wansley and her office for tirelessly working on this amendment, not giving up when the veto was vetoed last year. For over a year, our offices have been coming together to create this ordinance. Drivers told us today that their wages are extremely low and unreliable. We're asking minimum wage equivalent. That is just a basic city requirement. We expect any company to abide those law and respect the law. The drivers you see today are majority immigrant workers and workers of color, and they no longer can wait. I really want to add that this is a work. The staff has spent many months to give us the models, give us the presentation, do the background work. We as drivers, we as council members, I as a council member believe that we have to hold accountability.